Well, Sunday proved to be one of the biggest, in fact, the biggest day in Brentwood's history. They pulled off a most amazing win down at New Road, Worcester, in the National Club Cup final, beating a very strong Northern Cricket Club side by an amazing 9 wickets. Joining me to talk about the day was Ian Livingston, who was part and parcel of the coverage. You could hear his dulcet tones on the YouTube stream. A career on TMS surely beckons. Ian, how are you? And what was it like?
Hey, all good. Thanks, Darren. Thanks for having me. It was a great day, and let's be brutal. We started off the day with one or two of us asking the question between ourselves: why are we here at Worcester New Road, and not at Lords, where Cookney had won the National Club Championship the year before? But by the end of the day, did anyone care? Brentwood had won it. Worcestershire put on a great show for us. They did a really good job. They looked after everyone really, really brilliantly. And we had a cracking day. I was there with a couple of colleagues of mine from the Premier League Cricket Show and from Crick X, who we worked together with. And we just wanted to put as much coverage out there onto socials and help the guys along with the commentary as we possibly could, because it is the pinnacle of club cricket, the club championship, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, and congratulations for the extensive coverage that you gave across all social media. Because you're right, it is. We can't understate the importance of this achievement enough and the occasion. Yes, it was a shame that it wasn't at Lords, but Worcester did us proud. It's quite interesting. I thought that, and I was joking with Webby, the Brentwood chairman, about
Mhm.
Brentwood's unofficial motto is "We walk on water," and what better place than New Road?
Well, talking to the guys around the ground there, and we had a good chat with Ashley Giles while we were there. And clearly they have major issues, especially during the winter. But you'd never guess when you're there. You can see where they've put some temporary stuff in, and you can see where they've got some of the barriers that are there. But we all know what happens to New Road every winter. But the way the pitch played, and the way Ben Allison rocked up for Brentwood, having just signed officially for Worcester, despite being a loan player for a while, it played like a really good cricket pitch. We were a little bit surprised, one or two of us, when Brentwood won the toss and put Northern into bat. But to be honest, you now look back and go, actually, did Ben Allison also have a word in the captain's ear? Did Aaron listen to him and go, yeah, okay, we're doing that? Because you could see the difference from the moment they went into bat that way.
Yeah, I mean, he struck very early on, Benny, didn't he?
He did.
He had Northern rocking at 10 for 2 in
Yeah.
his opening spell.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of felt like Benny was also showing off to his new employers as well, making a bit of a statement there.
Well, if he was trying to do that, he missed a chance because Ashley didn't turn up until halfway through the game anyway. So it's Ben bowled brilliantly, and we look again. You look at these things with a lot of hindsight, don't you? And after 18 balls, Northern were on 1 run. And I've seen Northern a number of times this year in these club competitions. I've also seen them in T20, and to see them just be pegged back that way when normally they go at it so hard, it was ridiculous. But then the first wicket they took when Chris Laker got out, you could see there was that bit of frustration from actually, I've been held back here. He did slap him for a 4, but then 3 balls later, charged Ben Allison down the pitch, ball goes sky, and it sort of set the tone then. But Northern never really got themselves going because they got a few runs and then a wicket, got a few runs, and we all know that it doesn't matter what form of cricket it is, it's all about building partnerships, isn't it?
That's right. What about Tyler McGladdery, who was dropped off Aaron West bowling in his, I think it was about 33 or 34,
He was.
but went on to hit an impressive 93 runs. You're right. You could sense the frustration. I was watching him very closely when he was trying to push on and trying to take on the attack. But as you say, wickets were falling at just the wrong time.
Yeah, he had a succession of partners come in, and James Cole, I thought, had a nice little partnership, the skipper from Northern, with Tyler. But then
Not the
once he'd
umpire.
gone, it was no, and that was the irony, wasn't it? I mean, oh god, it drove me pot, absolutely drove me potty, that did. And I'm really disappointed in James Cole, the umpire, that he didn't get a chance to give James Cole the batter out, to be frank. But that's a different story anyway. But yeah, they just went through partnership after partnership, and it wasn't until that last partnership came in and Ben Edmondson came in. And you could just see there was a little bit of a difference there, but it was very clear from Tyler's demeanour the frustration that he
That's
was
right.
going through in each time he got a little bit going and then he stopped again. And Tyler's a great lad and he wears his heart on his sleeve, but he's also an incredibly talented batter. And he showed in the last couple of overs that Northern innings with Ben exactly what they could do when they took 33 off the last two overs, including an absolutely ridiculous ramp shot that he played off Ben Allison, which the whole crowd that was there, it was literally one of those big gasp moments, and then a cheer to realise it's just dropped for six as well. So I think Northern, once they got to 178 for six, they were content rather than happy because they would call themselves possibly more a bowling side than a batting side, and would have been looking at it thinking we could really target that power play, really get stuck into the boys from Brentwood from the start. But obviously the boys from Brentwood had a different idea.
Well, yeah, and also I think at one stage they were staring down a total of 150, but for that late flurry.
Hmm.
And then yes, there was a bit of a short delay for rain at the interval. I'm not sure that really changed conditions that much though. But um, Brentwood went into bat. Westy, I thought, just batted an absolute tour de force of an innings.
He
I mean,
did.
they went at it very sort of carefully. They didn't panic. There wasn't any rushing.
Yeah.
And they only lost the wicket of Eddie Ballard. Will
Yeah.
Bottleman's performance caught the eye as well.
It did. I mean, Aaron went in with one sole objective. It was quite clear. He was going to bat as long as he possibly could. And if he could then take it into the last 10 overs and be in with a shout on, he batted beautifully, Aaron. Absolutely beautifully. And his defensive work was brilliant. But then every now and again, he just showed a real touch of aggressive class is the way I'd best describe, and
Yeah,
went at whichever bowler it was. Whereas they started at the other end with Eddie Ballard went out there with one sole objective. I'm going to take Tommy Sefton down. Brentwood had bowled Charlie Griffiths at the opening from the same end. I think it's called the New Road end. But when Tom Sefton came on, he's absolutely one of the best bowlers in the country when it comes to Premier League cricket, but he's not used to bowling on that county wicket, and we think that might have made a little bit of a difference. Eddie Ballard, with his NCC experience as well, bashed him around a little bit, but once he came out and Will Buttleman went in, they probably took about 5 overs just to solidify what they were at. They didn't want to lose another quick wicket. Northern are used to taking wickets in the power play, and looking outside in, 10, 15 overs in, when they were only one down, you could see Northern going, hang on a minute, we need to take wickets here pretty quickly. And they started moving the bowlers around and trying different things. To be fair to Northern, Liam Gray bowled a superb spell at the beginning. He missed the bat and the edge of the bat probably half a dozen times where you're just thinking, if just one of them had caught, what would have happened? But by the time we got to sort of drinks and Brentwood were 74 for one, if I remember rightly, then you're thinking, hang on a minute, these guys they're in pole position, aren't they?
yeah, and that was the conversation on commentary, wasn't it, about how it was the match odds were swinging their way. And yeah, it was there was good entertainment. The crowd, the Northern supporters were giving Will Bottom and the Bird. What was it? Call yourself a county player, wasn't it? But I mean, he
Yeah,
reacted beautifully, didn't he?
yeah, there's one or two people didn't like the fact that he cupped his ear at one point when he slapped the ball for four, but you know what? I loved it. And it's like,
Yeah,
come on, Will. He showed his class. And there's a great video our friends from Crick X put out yesterday, funnily enough. Will, before the game, was doing some visualization in the centre of the pitch and just showed himself what he was going to do. And then he showed exactly the way he played and hit the four to win the innings. It's exactly what he was doing. And he's a great young lad. I look at one or two of these players and think, yeah, have they been let go by the county system too quickly? Could they have been given a lot longer? And instead of that 1 or 2 years, give them 4 or 5 years, because it does take time sometimes. And we all know that cricketers develop at different ages, don't they? And Will was superb, but with Aaron, by the time they got to that last sort of 5 overs where they finished it off, the two of them were just slapping the ball wherever they wanted.
yeah, yeah. And the scenes at the end were just fantastic. I mean, whoever you were supporting, to see that you saw then what this means to club players. And Brentwood have been knocking at the door. They've been working so hard to get here for so long.
Yeah,
And there were some lovely moments at the end where, the players, Webby and his dad came on, the
yeah.
president, and also Westy's dad, Steve, who's a magnificent servant for the club, and all of them had obviously been cutting onions prior to
Yeah.
storming on the pitch. It was just an amazing scene.
I had a great chat with Steve West before the game. First time I'd met him, but I had a great chat with him. And at the end of the game, in the last over or so, I was just inside the boundary, ready to run on and take more content and video and everything else. And Steve West was just outside the boundary, and he just walked behind me. And I just looked at him and I said, "You all right now, mate?" And he went, "Yeah, I think I'm okay." Then when he came on, the the father in me sort of took. I went over to him, and there was no handshake. It was just a big hug to say, "Well done, mate." It's like because he was gone. Steve West was gone, but so justifiably. And I did a great little interview with him. With the bloody crowd chanted his name. None of this Aaron West or Will Buttleman. The Brentwood fans were chanting Steve West's names. He's a legend at the club,
Yeah, he
obviously,
is.
and. Webby's dad, great little interview with him. 25 years they reckon this has taken to get to this stage. But it was, whatever it's taken, it was a team effort. And for anyone who hasn't watched the game, I would say just have a look at the stream for half an hour. The one thing that you would see when it comes to these two clubs was phenomenal ground fielding. It was as good as anything you'll see in first class cricket. Absolutely top class Premier League players. Some really didn't get going on the day. That's one of those things. But if you watch Tyler's innings or you watch Will Buttleman's innings and you watch Aaron's innings, these are as good as what's out there, definitely. And you could watch this week in, week out for free around the country, can't you?
Oh, absolutely. And I bang on 98 out relentlessly about people going down to watch club cricket because, as you rightly say, the standard is incredible, and it's for free as well. Just go along, take your deck chair, whatever else. Make sure you buy a drink at the bar to support the club. But you
Yeah.
will see, and some of these players, as you say, that they are county standard, or in some cases, when Jordan Silk was at Brentwood this summer, sadly he had to return to Australia before they
But
got
he
the
watched the whole game. Whole game. He was on WhatsApp to the boys at the end. It was 2:30 or whatever it was in the morning in Australia. I'm texting Jordan going, "Did you stay up to the end, mate?" And he's not answering me. And next thing I know, it was Eddie Ballard at the phone. He's like, "That's why he's not answered, because he's bloody on the phone to us all." It's like, this shows how important it is to them all, doesn't it? And it's funny you talk about having a drink. The Northern lads and the Brentwood lads, I tell you what, they gave Worcester some income that day. I had Ashley Giles and Joe Tromans, the operations manager, next to me. They were like, "Yeah, the barman's very happy today," and I think that's what it's all about. Is supporting the game, isn't it?
It is. It is. It was a fantastic. And as you say, anyone listening to this that hasn't seen it, just go and watch a bit of it. Watch all of it. It's a great game of cricket, apart from anything else. But it shows you grassroots level, the passion, and just an incredible occasion. I'm just jealous that I wasn't there. I was trying to, but it just didn't happen in the end. But anyway, next time. But Ian, thanks for joining me
Absolutely.
and giving us your thoughts on what was a great occasion. And congratulations to Brentwood, but also a shout out to Northern for getting there, because it's no small
Mm,
feat to actually get to the final of this. I mean, it is a national competition.
yeah.
But they contributed to what in the end was a great occasion. But Brentwood are National Club Cup winners. They won by 9 wickets. Ian, thanks for joining me.